This episode of the Justin Robert Young Podcast is brought to you by 305. Take it to the house. Patreon.com/JuRY. Let's fucking start the show. Holy fat bags of shit. We have another episode of the Justin Robert Young Podcast coming to you live and direct from Oakland, California, the city of lights. I've had this thing, and I don't know where it started, but where every city, whenever somebody says like a shitty city that you're going to, whenever you're like, I got to go to Sheboygan. And like, I'm sorry if you're from Sheboygan, but you know, your city sucks. And I'm sure you know this more than I do. You go like, city of lights. Because that's Paris's gimmick. And I like saying that for two reasons. Number one, fuck Paris. I mean, whatever. You had your time. Thanks for the fucking statue. Eat double shits. And number two, because what the fuck does it even mean? I'm sure there was a point in which somebody went in a world with that ubiquitous electricity, walked into Paris, and they're like, holy shit, this is truly the city of lights. And then, we all got lights. And now there are like shitty towns all over the world, that are the city of lights. Similarly, if you were to have somebody that came from a aboriginal, there's those tribes in South America that have never seen modern civilization. If they were to roll into Sheboygan, Michigan, they would say, fuck me, this is truly the city of lights. In the same way, somebody walking into Paris would have back when that was named the city of lights. So that is the beginning of the show. It wasn't good. Like, I'm not going to lie to you and say that this was a really, really good, strong opening, but it's the best thing that I could do right now. Why? Well, because I'm kind of running around, guys. Today I had to leave and go to Santa Cruz last night, and I had to spend the night in Santa Cruz and then work a game, and tomorrow I got to go to Los Angeles, and I'll be there for 5 days. Then I come back, and I go to Greensboro, North Carolina, City of Lights. And then I have to go to Eden, North Carolina, which is even more of a fucking city of lights than Greensboro is. Which, by the way, here, normally I do this thing where I feel bad when I tell people I'm going to be in a city, right? I feel bad about it because I generally don't have time to hang out with people. However, I'm going to tell y'all this. I got to be in Eden, North Carolina for like fucking 5 days, right? 5 of them in Eden, which as best as I can tell is has a bustling nightlife that consists of watching Beatles fuck. And I don't mean like George and Ringo. I mean like the animals. I mean by animals, I mean insects because I ain't too smart. And watching paint dry. So if there is anybody within the sound of my voice in Eden, North Carolina, and you would like to become best friends with the internet's own Justin Robert Young, holy shit, are we about to become blood brothers. We're going to build a fort. We're going to pinprick each other's fingers and mix our blood together. We're going to make up secret handshakes. So holler at your boy, JustinRobertYoung at gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line, --best friend application. Let's get into what is going to happen in the show. We got, I'm going to explain to you why Daredevil is the best explanation of why Superman and Batman are different. Based on the Netflix series that has just been released. I'm going to continue my political. Tell you what, I feel like it's starting to not just become a coincidence, okay? That the political world, people keep announcing their presidencies week after week after week. Why? I mean, I think it's because I'm spitting hot fire on this here podcast, folks. I ain't going to lie to you. That's what I think is happening. Is you got all these political people that are like, oh, shit, I want to be president. Well, fuck. I'm going to have to get in line if I want that Justin Robert Young. And that sound was the hand stamp of fucking excellence. And so Hilary Clinton announces that she's going to be president. I'm going to give her some fucking 24 karat gold advice today on the show. And also, I'm going to tell you I'm going to explain something to y'all that has changed the lives of some of my friends. Now, in general, I try to play like this character where I'm this very arrogant guy and I'm yelling and I'm saying that everybody who needs to be president needs to listen to me, that kind of stuff. This is actually some advice that I did not realize was apparently profound or something that I came up with that I didn't realize was apparently profound until other people told me that it was interesting. All that plus your emails coming up on this edition of the Justin Robert Young podcast. We are looking for some permanent music on this show. So we are in the trying on period. We're in the back of the TJ Maxx trying to squeeze into some different music. See if it fits. So let's go ahead and start out with this. All day today, the music is going to be by Hugs and Proxy. That is Hugs and Proxy. This is A Thought to the Head.
Got me thinking about it every day, how the same song is heard with all the old words. Standing motionless, I'm here to stay. There's no need to cry. I can't seem to fly like I did in a dream under skies long ago, when my music was heard for the touch.
So I watched me a little bit of the Daredevil show. Daredevil to Dream is what it's called. Daredevil. See, or they call it Marvel's Daredevil on Netflix. They released the whole goddamn season over the weekend, and I've only watched one episode. I've watched one episode despite the fact that I told Ashley I wouldn't. I told Ashley I would not watch it until I was done with our wedding script. And I'm not done with the wedding script. So I broke a promise to my future wife. Which really says all you need to know about me. But enough about how terrible I am. I only watched one episode. I mean, let's not make a federal fucking case about it, okay? Right? I watched one episode. And by the way, I kind of have to because I got a lot of time to fill on these podcasts, including the one that I'm doing right now. I'm not getting defensive. You're getting defensive. Okay. So I watched Daredevil, and by and large, I liked it. My overall review of the first episode is it is good. I'm excited to see where it goes. When it is good, it is really, really, really good. The action is exceptional. I very much enjoy it. And it is kind of hanging its hat as a high octane action series with a lot of really interesting kind of underlying themes. But here's the one that struck me the most with that. I believe that at best, from DC's perspective, Daredevil explains and articulates to a mass audience why Superman and Batman are different, yet both equally important. At worst for DC, Daredevil has very intelligently and articulately spelled out how they were planning to articulate why Batman and Superman are different in a movie that they hope will dominate next summer. And they just had their lunch eaten. So, why are Superman and Batman different, and why does Daredevil do a great job of spelling that out? I'm glad you asked. Here's how. First episode of Daredevil features a scene, and I'm going to spoil a little bit. Features a scene in which Daredevil goes and puts a stop to some nefarious mobsters doing some nefarious business. Puts a stop to it in very superheroic fashion. Like, he's like fucking flying all over the place. And then Daredevil's like, oh shit, I'm going to fucking punch you in the face. Oh, remember that earlier in the episode when I was talking about how my dad was a boxer and he used to punch people a lot? Well, now, guess who's punching people? Ah, it's me. I'm Daredevil. Pop, 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 pop. So it saves the day. So all the mobsters are getting together in another scene, and the mobsters are like, the fuck, this goddamn Daredevil's out of here, Daredeviling all of our shit up. And one of the other mobsters is like, yo, bro, take a chill pill. Maybe this superhero thing, and he doesn't even say maybe. He states it as a given. Superheroes in business are good for us. Now, notice I said bad guys, but let me go a little bit more in depth. These are local mobsters running protection rackets, extortion schemes on a very micro level. They're pretty much taking advantage of about, a pool of a couple 100,000 people. And they're serially doing it. They're taking advantage of industries that have inherent and systemic corruption. They're small scale compared to the, and when my death ray is complete, I'll take over the world of normal superhero kind of fare. So when they say a hero is good for us, what they are, and in the context of the Daredevil show, talking about is the Avengers. Remember that scene in the Avengers when Thor and the Hulk are whipping the shit out of some bad guys, and Thor's like takes a look at Hulk after they're kind of done whipping monkey ass, and they're like, and he's like, yeah, bro, and then Hulk's like, papa, and punches him, and he flies through a fucking wall. That's great. That's hilarious. But in the world of Daredevil, that's a broken wall. That's a wall that needs to be fixed. That's money that needs to change hands. That's an insurance program that needs to be tapped into for infrastructure costs. That's a way you can get graft. That's a way you can take advantage of an already gigantic system that might have its own inherent corruption. So the bad guys, which we've now defined as far different than the supervillain type bad guys, like Loki opening up a fucking portal so a bunch of aliens can enslave Earth, think that heroes are good. Heroes mean chaos. Heroes stop gods that come down from Norse mythology and open up portals that carry aliens that try to enslave the human race. They don't solve fucking rounding error corruption in insurance and construction schemes. But Daredevil does. Daredevil is a micro hero, not a macro hero, a micro hero. Batman is a micro hero. Now, Batman got so fucking popular that he kind of became a macro hero. Like at some point, everybody's so fucking into Batman that you just got to be like, oh no, also he has a bat jet and a bat lair with a bat gun with bat things. And you have to kind of plus him up a little bit and make him a bigger deal than he really is. Iron Man is macro Batman. Daredevil is micro Batman. Now, Iron Man has a lot of other interesting elements to him that make him a more realistic threat to be a macro hero. Bruce Wayne, you always have to get there by contrivances. He's always saving Gotham. He's very rarely saving the world. But it's those elements that contrast with Superman, who is the most macro of macro heroes. This dude not only, he fucking like has a major super boner for Earth, and he thinks that's the local hood. Because that motherfucker can just fly off into space and take care of some other space shit like that. He can be out of here. So Daredevil does a great job. And just in that first episode, they're like, yeah, no, the more time that Thor and the Hulk spend in Hell's Kitchen, the more money we make. We make a lot of money. Because, I mean, fuck, these guys are gigantic. If they're here, they're probably, I mean, they ain't going to be here to, get a taco. Huh? They're going to be there to bust some shit up. They're fucking going buck wild out here. And if that's the case, then we make money. We benefit. The micro hero is the one that puts a stop to it. He matches up well with them. So, if Daredevil is Batman and the Avengers are Superman, how do you mix the two of them? And we are going to see, I'm sure, we're going to see next summer what DC thinks the intersection between the two of them are. And the reason why I think that Daredevil might have already eaten their lunch is because we've heard script leaks and stuff like that. That part of why Batman and Superman come to blows is because Batman views Superman as a menace who fucking left carnage throughout Metropolis and might need to be stopped, which kind of makes him a lot like Lex Luthor, but that's a whole different story. But I'd wonder whether or not if they had done a Ben Affleck Batman movie before Batman Superman, whether or not you would get a little bit more of this articulation. You'd get more and more of this kind of idea that there's more than one kind of superhero. And especially when you tell a story well, it just makes it all the more interesting. Marvel's fucking so good. God damn it. I mean, like, it's really unfair how much better they are than DC. At some point, you just want to, just, like, call the match. And I'm sure DC fans will be like, no, DC's the best. Well, that's fine. I mean, like, that's to each their own. More music and then more talking.
Remember what's gone right, all the embers fade to join the night. Grow friendship so builds up slow from being low. At what cost? Where's the loss? Fatal blow that too well I know. Though we met not long ago, I can't help but know there's a flicker in my heart. Though it's being smothered, it still sparks. Know where to go. Truth be told, I can't know if you can't see I can't say. Distance grows as time runs out. I'm too afraid to let it out. Better that you never know. Pain is softer as I lay down low. Oh, final flow.
Oh, man, I think it is time that we once again begin America's favorite segment of...
Politics. Yes, the Roman Senate.
Man, I gotta get that a little louder, huh? Huh? Let's try this one more time. It's America's favorite round of...
Politics. Yes, the Roman Senate.
Politics talk. Here we go. Hilary Clinton, man. Dude, I do feel out of it. Somebody, as soon as I got on, somebody was like, Justin looks tired. And I was like, initially, I was like, man, fuck you. You're tired. Your mom's tired. And then, like, I started to get into the show, and I started to try to, like, turn it into overdrive, and I started to try to get, like, animated and crazy pants and start yelling and doing, like, my, like, adding on things and going into little wormholes and talking about it. And then, like, I got into that little break, and I was like, fuck, I am tired. But I'm going to do my best. Justin Robert Young is going to do my best for you and Hillary Clinton as well. Hillary Clinton announced that she is going to run for president of the United States. If you're unfamiliar, the concept of the president is the leader. He is the executive, flanked by both the judiciary and the legislative. There's been 40-something of them, and she's a lady. We haven't had a lady president, so there we go. Now you're caught up. Now, I've been doing these with, like, Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and stuff like that in the last couple weeks as they've announced. And when you do that with this kind of crowd, with my kind of crowd, it's a win-win. Right, because I'm giving insane advice. The bit is I give crazy-ass advice and give crazy-ass slogans to real candidates. And by and large, there ain't a whole lot of people that like Rand Paul or like Ted Cruz that listen to me. Or at least they're not the most vocal. So when I make those jokes, people who get it, get it. People who don't like Rand Paul or Ted Cruz think it's funny because I'm saying ridiculous shit and it's funny to hear it come out of their mouths. But this is going to get increasingly less funny as we get closer to people that people actually think are going to win. And Hillary Clinton is probably the biggest one of them. Because then it's not going to be a joke. Now, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. And I will do the exact same thing. But there are going to be some people who will hear it. And this will only get worse the closer we get to the fucking election, BT dubs. People who hear it that will assume I am making fun of Hillary. And I am. I made fun of Ted Cruz and I made fun of Rand Paul, but not in any kind of malicious way, in a kind of ridiculous way that illustrates that politics and politicians are both insanely inane and silly concepts. So just do me a favor and understand, I'm just joshing. You know, it's all in good fun. 9-to-5 roll need. I'm just trying to have a good time. So, let's start. Hillary Clinton. Here's the problem with Hillary Clinton. Everybody's got their mind made up, and she doesn't have enough people who have made up their mind that they love Hillary to win the election. You have to win people over. So apparently, she decided to counteract her very detail-focused and oriented reputation by creating one of the shittiest logos that has ever debuted in American politics. Do me a favor, folks, and just go look at that fucking logo. It's a blue H but instead of the horizontal connector, there's a red arrow pointing right, by the way, a red arrow pointing right in a Democratic candidate's logo. And it looks like it was made by somebody, in 11th grade who just started Photoshop. I have no idea what the deal is. I certainly hope that that there's some sort of weird triangulation thing that makes sense on why she did it. Like maybe it tested very well, but even then, no, you want to know what? It just sucks. It's a shitty logo, and hopefully it goes away at some point because it's embarrassing. Who's gonna want to buy that shirt? Who's gonna want the fucking scarlet H on them? Now that Obama logo, that's a sexy motherfucking logo, because in the Gen, political logos don't look good at all, ever. They've always looked at their best bland and regal, like it's something that looks like something official, and at their worst, something that the intern did. So when Obama came in with some design chops, and motherfuckers were like out here fucking with like gradients and shit, oh no, a gradient on a political poster? People still got those fucking bumper stickers on their cars. And it ain't just because they love Obama. It's because it's not a bad looking fucking bumper sticker. If that O was not for Obama, but for Obsidian, a new email client that was very popular, people would be like, that's a great looking fucking logo. I love Obsidian. And that's a fake email provider. So, by the way, Carl just posted the logo in the chat room, and the entire chat room just like face palmed. Anybody who hadn't seen it just face palmed. So I know that this advice is supposed to be ridiculous, but we're ditching the logo. Hilary, it's just me and you, boo. I'm letting you know. Here's what you got to do. We're scrapping that logo. Fuck that logo right in the mouth. Here's what you need to have. You need a logo that projects against your weaknesses. So I don't know what the fuck, who sold you on like, oh, I don't know, arrows are your weak, or arrows show, I don't know, are you trying to ward off an advancing army? So you need arrows? Whatevs. So what are your weaknesses? Half the people hate you. All right. You have a lot of political baggage. All right. And you are viewed as either way too left by those who are conservative, and by the far left, you are looked at as way too moderate. So how do you get a logo that does all those things? I'm going to tell you. Because this also projects strength. This projects dominance. This projects that you, no matter what, you might think you defeat Hilary, but you don't. Time is her greatest asset. Longevity is her greatest asset. Power is her greatest asset. Foresight, planning, seeping in to every element of your structure, seeping in to every crevice of the modern civilization. Yes, Hilary Clinton, your new logo is the same as Hydra. Hail Hilary! This is going to be the best fucking move you've ever done. You are going to have a fucking, it skews young. It is awesome. It looks badass. You just have, and listen, it's already been in movies. That's a little fucking sizzle. You can tie it in with the fucking Marvel Universe. Apparently, Kevin Feige just came out and said there's no post-credit scene in the new Avengers movie. You just roll in there and say, hey, buddy, How about you take a few plays off and let old Hilary fucking get in the business? Next thing you know, whatever happens at the end of Avengers 2, Hilary walks out and says, "This looks like a plan for Hilary." And then as she turns, she fucking flashes a little Hydra logo. But then they're like, "What? I thought that was Hydra." And she's like, "No, now it's my logo." And Iron Man's like, "Man, Hilary, you crazy." And that's it. That's the end of the fucking movie. I'm thinking you co-opt the Hydra logo. Now, you're not really part of Hydra. And you want to distance yourself a little bit from the fact that they're an evil organization. But, I don't know. Maybe if kind of people think that you're part of Hydra, it ain't the worst thing in the world. How many people are fucking with a known Hydra agent that's out here publicly flashing that logo? Seems like a bad idea for enemies, huh? And also, people already think you're part of the Illuminati. Fucking Hydra's a step down from that. There we go. Hail Hilary in 2016. I'm going to let you know that hating is the worst thing you can possibly do. And I'm going to tell you an axiom for which I have had many people tell me is something that has changed their life, coming up right after this.
Inability to understand what went on, or what went wrong. Holding tightly with an open hand all that I love, all that I have. I was on one of my darkness spent with nothing left to represent.
Igloo in the chat room says, "I'm not a part of the Illuminati. I actually belong to Hydra." I mean, how is that a bad idea, man? I feel like this is in and of itself a great fucking idea for everybody involved. Hugs and Proxy have provided the music throughout this episode. I'm going to let you guys know something. I'm an anxious man. I don't know if you guys have picked up on this in all the time we've spent with each other, but I am very often somebody that gets a little panicked about stuff and worries a little bit too much about stuff and overthinks things and assigns motivations to the actions of others and often kind of gets myself in trouble because I get wrapped up in my own thought process. But there is one element of my life that I have done a lot to combat. And that is jealousy. Green-eyed monster. Coveting thy neighbor's lawn. It is a pervasive and really insidious problem if you want to be a creative person. And it is my opinion that all creative people conquer it. You watch other people and they do well and they have positions that you have, and there is a natural inclination for you to say, I should be there. I should have that. That should be mine. And these feelings are oftentimes either well-founded or not so well-founded. Like sometimes you see somebody doing something really well, and really the only thing that y'all had in common was that you went to the same school. Or you knew them back in the day, or you knew somebody that was like them, or you've read up on them and you see that you had remarkably similar backgrounds, or you're about the same age, and you feel bad about your relative station in life compared to theirs. Now, that's really not founded at all. But other times, you've actually done a lot of the same work. You might have worked harder than that person, and yet they are in a position that you wish you could be in. Now that's natural. Both of those, by the way, are natural thoughts. It is when those thoughts turn to feelings that influence other thoughts that you start to get yourself in trouble. So at some point, when I used to live in Florida and work with Andrew, there was a lot of my day, a vast majority of my day, that was spent discussing things with Andrew. And I mean everything, over and over and over again, a million different ways from Sunday. And it was so fun, and so much of the most interesting stuff that I've taken on into my life have come in from those kind of trips to, Taco Bell or Arby's in Margate and Coconut Creek, respectively. But one of the things that came out of our conversations was something that I guess I said kind of offhanded, and I didn't really even realize what I had said until we kind of talked about it a lot more afterward, which is that talent doesn't fear talent. Talent doesn't fear talent. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you fancy yourself good at something, you do not fear another person who is good at it. The only time that you have jealousy, the only time that you have feelings of inadequacy is when you are projecting your own deficiencies onto other people. You are looking for someone to point the finger at, and so you find somebody who is only related to your own struggles in that you view them as a diametric opposite to a weakness of yours. So, what do? You have those feelings. You see that somebody has done something very, very well. Somebody has something that you want. How are you supposed to react to it? In my opinion, and I can only speak for myself, what I have done for myself, and I feel that I am the better for it, is identify what element of me I am not happy with. I then say, hey, how can I get there? How can I do it? Right now, I am fearing another person. I am fearing another thing. And I don't want to be in that position because it is not that thing's fault. It is not that person's fault. That person has worked hard or they got a lucky break. Either of which I would be very happy if it was my life. We get pissed off because somebody turns over a rock and finds $100. But if you turned over a rock and found $100, it'd be your favorite fucking day ever. You wouldn't look at yourself and say, I don't deserve this $100. You'd be like, fucking A, $100. For me, over the past year and a half, it's been watching other people be really, really funny and have opportunities and be on platforms that I am not, I mean, I have this and this is great and I never want to let this go. And I never want to, and I don't want to downplay any element of anything, but I want to make it bigger. I want to make it better. I want to look at other situations and I want to, in 5 years, look at the situation that we're in right now together. I want us all to look back at this day and say, this was fucking small potatoes compared to where we are in 5 years. And I don't just mean that as this show. I mean all of us. It's what I wish for you, my friends, the listeners, the viewers of this show, this conduit into my soul. I'll give you a real micro example. The Double Clicks are doing a Nerd Night Out tour, right? And they got a bunch of guests. So they announced, we're going to do San Francisco. And I was like, oh, man, that would be a cool thing. I would like to help them out with that. Now, I know the Double Clicks enough that I've hung out with them and I've talked with them. I mean, every element that I've every interaction I've had with them has pretty much been show related at some point. I mean, they came and did an NSFW show. They were, I've come to their shows. We were both at Nerdtacular, shit like that, But they don't really know me, right? Like they don't really know, aside from, Twitter back and forth and stuff like that, that would be something that I would even want to do, is like help them co-host that show in San Francisco. But in my head, I was like, fuck. You want to know what? That's a thing that I don't have, and I would like to have that. And that might just be as simple as emailing them. In fact, it probably would be. Even if it was just, ladies and gentlemen, here we go, so they can put a name on a flyer and sell more tickets. Although I don't think they need any help selling out those kind of venues. But at the same time, it meant I needed to work harder. Because I wouldn't blame somebody from watching this and saying, well, yeah, you do a good podcast, but, what would you do on stage? Like, no, I have ideas on what I would do on stage, but what I do here in the podcast world, it's not abundantly clear. That's a deficiency. That is a lack of the development of my own talent. It is that lack that provides the space for me to fear and become jealous of others. We like to think that negative feelings are something that we should purge from us, and I don't believe that in the least. I believe that negative feelings are very, very often the most important feelings that we can have. Now, you can't let them become insidious. You need to treat them like antibodies. You need to treat them like vaccines. They're poison that you inject into yourself so you can make yourself stronger. And if you do that, if talent doesn't fear talent, then I think anything is possible. You make connections better. You make more friends. You become happier. And not only is your success more attainable, not only does it help you create momentum, you get to experience that on a level that you would not otherwise. You get to be happier about it. And there we go. Email that comes in on this show, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com is where you need to send it. JURY in the subject line. I'm curious to see what other people think about this. I'm really curious to see what experiences people have had in their own lives with this. Russell writes, is that Mike Pence defender guy kidding? He thinks a law that makes it legal for a business to discriminate for homosexuals based on their homosexuality is acceptable ever? Wow. Maybe next they should repeal the Civil Rights Act too, so they can kick blacks out of their places of business and make the pure white Christian racist utopia they've all been jerking off to in their fantasies since they lost it in the 1960s. When did it become discrimination to not allow businesses to discriminate against protected classes? Give me a fucking break. People like him make me want to vomit. All right. This is what I'm talking about when we start to get into this this discussion about we have more in common than we do disagree. So we have the dude who's written in, no frack in the chat room, has written in a couple times defending or at least explaining Mike Pence's situation. Russell does not like Mike Pence's situation. Now, it is my opinion that at the very least, Russell and No Frack have some things in common. So here's what I would like. I would like Russell and I would like No Frack to just write in with shit, non-political shit that they like. Because I want to find out that these two people have something in common. And I want them to be able to at least just know that if they wanted to talk about stuff after they had a good and healthy disagreement about politics, they could also talk about other shit. So No Frack, if you are listening, Russell, if you are listening, by next week, I would like you guys to just write in with non-political shit that you're kind of into. And I will see whether or not I can play Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Alyssa writes, so I'm lying down in my bed. Oh, shit. These are female sex stories. I asked for y'all to write about some embarrassing female sex stories. And holy shit, by the way, BT Dubs, we have a superstar amongst us when it comes to some of this stuff. And I'm going to read that after this. So here is Alyssa, who wrote in. I'm lying on the bed while my boyfriend's downloading something for us to watch. I'm just resting my eyes, chatting with him. He ends up laying down with me. He starts kissing and biting on my neck, probably my favorite thing in the world, and nibbling at my ear. I feel his hand travel down to unbutton my pants. I'm also just now realizing that I'm pretty sure that Alyssa wanted to be anonymous. So I think, let me just hold on. I'm pretty sure that the first line in her thing was, please let me be anonymous. Holy shit. I'm the worst. And she says, that's the first thing. Please don't say my name. Fuck me. All right. Well, I'm going to stop reading this story. And then maybe I'm just going to say in a few weeks, I'll just bring it up along with other anonymous stories. I'm sorry, Alyssa. So nothing it was very, very, this was PG. You know, this is something that you would read in, you would see on the Waltons, you know? So I'm going to leave. All right. We're leaving that alone. I fucked up. Oh, God damn that I fuck up. And here's why it's worse is because like, this is something that like, I think needs drawing out with the audience. Like chicks don't very often to dudes tell embarrassing sex stories. It's just not something that very often happens in our culture. I fucking broke the circle of trust. But you want to know what? I'm going to try and save it with this. I'm going to name this person Alundra. Alundra is not a real name. Alundra is a pseudonym. As soon as I was done with the last week's episode, Alundra wrote in with like 9 stories. So I'm going to read them once a week for the next 9 weeks. Let me see if I can find one. Okay. Here we go. Being from a small town with a population of 900, there were 3 bars in mine and 2 surrounding the towns that everyone went to. And everyone had their bar that they always went to. I was at mine, the BA for short. At this point, I already knew everybody who frequented the place, so when a wedding party came walking in, I was pretty excited by all the new faces and people to talk to. One guy in particular was very attractive, so I was talking to him for a while. He did not have a ring. I fucking checked. The bar closed and everyone was doing their routine of hanging outside trying to figure out what to do next. A aforementioned guy was going to try to talk me into going over to his place to s'mores. That's like s'mores. S''MORES. Tonight, I wasn't quite drunk enough until he won me over by telling my mortal enemy, who was trying to overtake me, that he didn't, quote, want drunk whores at his place. So I went. So there we go. A little catty thing. We did make s'mores and they were good, although the whole time he continued to force feed me alcohol. When I drank and ate all I possibly could, he was showing me the way to the guest bedroom. He literally threw me onto the bed, quickly pulled my pants off, and began eating me out. Until his wife walked in. You'd think he would stop, but instead he paused, looked up, and said, "Hey, babe, want to join in?" Didn't go over well. He went to talk to her. I walked back to my car in the pouring rain, and I drove home drunk. Now that is a man with balls. That is a man for whom Daredevil himself would say, "Yes, I am a fraud. You are the true man with no fear." That man does not worry about whether or not talent fears talent. That man will certainly be hailing Hilary. But if you are not this man, if you are not a man with balls of steel, then I ask you that in your darkest moments you remember that your old pal Justin Robert Young has reminded you to please don't.
Do you like the way you're dressed up? Do you like how your hair gets cut? Do you like when your friends fuck up? Don't you think you have had enough?
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.